What's good, guys? It's your boy Demarcus J, and today I'm back with another updated NBA Power Rankings tier list update. It is February 11th, and as you guys know, this Thursday was the NBA trade deadline, so we actually have a lot to discuss. A lot of moves were made at the trade deadline. Some teams were buyers. A few teams we thought were going to be sellers were not sellers. So we have a lot of movement, a lot of updates for this video today. So we're going to go ahead get started. First, we're going to look at the most recent tier list. This is the most recent from last week here. And yeah, this is going to change major. So we're going to go ahead start. As you guys know, we do keep the D and F tier. We keep those as is. Those do not change much, but there actually will be a team moving out of the D tier, and that's going to be the Golden State Warriors. Golden State is now on a 4-game winning streak, 7-3 in their last 10, and they have now surpassed the Utah Jazz and are sitting at 10th in the Western Conference. So basically, them and Utah are going to switch spaces here. We're going to put the Utah Jazz. They're going to be at the top of this D tier. Golden State is going to be at the end of this C tier. Golden State has looked great with the emergence of Kuminga playing more, Lester Quinones. They've been looking great the last few games with these young guys really kind of stepping in, and guys like Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins kind of taking a back seat now. Next, we have the we're gonna have the Los Angeles Lakers. They're gonna be at the top of this, or they're gonna be in front of the Warriors. That is, Los Angeles is currently sitting at 9th, right there in front of the Golden State Warriors by a game. And they didn't make too many moves at the deadline. They did pick up Spencer Dinwiddie. It hasn't been official at the time of this recording. They have to wait till he clears waivers, and then he is expected to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. But they do have a healthy LeBron, healthy AD, a team with 2 top 10 players in the NBA. At any time they can get hot. So I am just going to keep them here until they show us, or until they get hot, maybe to close out the season after the All-Star break here. Next, we actually are going to have the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to slide right in between both the Lakers and the Warriors. Actually, we're going to put them at the end of this C tier. They're 24-29 on the season. They are just playing in a weaker Eastern Conference than the West. So I am going to put them at the end of this C tier. But currently they are about 2.5 games ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. So they are looking pretty good for that 10th spot, and they were not sellers. DeJounte Murray is still on the team. There was a lot of chatter about him being moved, but they did choose to retain him and bring him back. So I definitely can see Atlanta staying in this play-in type category for the rest of the remainder of the season, that is. Then next, we are going to have the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to also put the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to put them here at the end of the C tier as well. So I'm going to have both the Western Conference teams in front of these 2 Eastern Conference teams. Chicago has just took a big blow. Zach LaVine is out for the remainder of the season. He will have a season-ending surgery, so that is a tough loss. And just without him, they were already struggling. It does look, with just how the Eastern Conference is currently laid out, I can fully see them staying in this play-in range and finishing as the 9 or 10 seed them in Atlanta. I don't really see any of the teams behind them, Brooklyn or Toronto, any of those teams really catching them, as both of those teams were sellers at the deadline. So I do believe we can see Chicago and Atlanta maybe finish at that 9-10 spot in the Eastern Conference. Next here, we actually are going to have one more team. We're going to go with the Miami Heat. I'm going to put the Miami Heat at the top of this mid-tier as well. They just haven't impressed me. Again, it's the regular season. They always show up more towards the postseason, but they just haven't looked great to me as of late. Terry Rozier still finding his way with the team, and as of this morning, Jimmy Butler will be stepping away from the team for personal reasons. Seems like there was a death in his family, so I don't have too much information on that at this time, but hoping everything is okay and that he will not miss an extended period of time. But as currently constructed, I am going to have them in this C tier. Now we're going to go ahead to the playoffs tier, and we're going to put the Orlando Magic. Orlando is currently sitting at 7th in the Eastern Conference. They're only half a game in front of the Heat, but one thing I do like about this team is they actually play defense and they protect the home court pretty well, as they are 17-7 at home, and actually on the road they're 12-17. So this is a team that actually protects the home court and they play defense. So I can definitely see them sticking in and possibly making the playoffs. But it just kind of depends on where they are seated and who that first round matchup will be with. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas actually made a few decent moves at the deadline, and I can definitely see this team moving into the A tier. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak, sitting at 30-23. However, they are sitting at 8th in the Western Conference. So they definitely have a ways to go, but they did pick up guys like PJ Washington, traded away Grant Williams, all at the trade deadline. And PJ Washington actually had a pretty good debut with the team. So that they're going to be interesting to see as they push close to the playoffs, as Kyrie and Luka, as long as they can stay healthy. I think those two guys are definitely going to be able to make some noise in the postseason. Then we also are going to have another Western Conference team. I'm going to put the Pelicans here. Pelicans are sitting at 7th right there in front of Dallas. Dallas has won 4 games, so that is why I'm going to keep them a little bit in front of the Pelicans here, even though the Pelicans are 1 game in front of them. Mavericks are starting to heat up, and like I said, they did make those moves at the deadline. I can continue to see them improving for the remainder of the season. And then I'm going to put the, not them just yet. I'm going to put the Indiana Pacers. Indiana, it looks like they are finally starting to, Pascal, as well as Tyrese Halliburton, starting to seem like they are really finding their flow together. They did make a few moves, even trading Buddy Hield, which was kind of inevitable at this point. But I do think they're all in to make a playoff run this season. I, however, do think they may fall into May of the play-in picture, where maybe if the Heat do finally get it together, they can probably surpass Indiana. I do think they are still a really young team and do have a ways to go. But as of right now, Tyrese Halliburton has been playing phenomenal ball this season, and he's been looking like a top 5 point guard in the NBA. So I think he does have what it takes to possibly lead this team on a nice playoff run if they can get everything together, stay healthy along those lines. Next, we do have the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is going to be our next team here. They're going to be at the top of this B tier. They didn't do much at the deadline here, and they're coming off a bad loss to the Golden State Warriors. Those are just games you cannot lose. You should be able to beat Golden State, especially when you're fully healthy. There should be no excuses to losing a game to Golden State. So reasons like that are why I am very hesitant about moving them up at all into that can make a run, because I do truly believe they can. But as of right now, they have not showed much to give me any more confidence in that. Then we're also going to have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City has dropped a bit compared to our last. I did move them, but I'm going to keep them at the top of this B tier for now. They have now been surpassed by Minnesota, the Clippers, and the Denver Nuggets. So they are sitting at fourth in the Western Conference when they were sitting at first 7 days ago, last time we made a video like this. So like I said, they're still young. They are still playing phenomenal basketball right now, just on a bit of a 2-game losing streak now. Like I said, I think they are fully in on making the playoffs this season. They brought in veterans like Gordon Hayward at the deadline. So I do think this team is going to be all right, but it is a young team. We just have to see how they respond and see how they finish this season out. Next, we are going to be putting the Sacramento Kings here. I am going to have them at the top of this B tier. Sacramento, they have just stayed put, and for the last 2 seasons, they are showing that they are a legitimate team, and they can make some noise in the Western Conference, I believe. Right now, they're sitting at the 5th seed, so if the playoffs started today, they will be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 7-game series. And call me crazy, but I do think Sacramento would be favored in that series. I do think Sacramento, just a little bit more veteran presence on the team. I think if it did come down to it, even with OKC having that home court advantage, I do believe Sacramento is the better team, and that is why they're going to be ahead of them just for now in the B tier. Now, in the A tier, we have a lot of changes here in this A tier. First, we're going to put Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to be at the bottom of this A tier. Currently sitting at 5th in the Eastern Conference, but as we know, we have no timetable on when Joel Embiid will be back, or if he will be back even in the regular season. So with that up in the air, with those questions, I cannot in good faith put them any higher, and they may end up dropping if they struggle while he is missing time. But as of right now, I do believe they can fully make a run with a healthy Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey playing at this all-star caliber level that he has been all season. So I am going to keep them here at the end of the can make a run section. And then we're going to actually go down to the New York Knicks. New York Knicks are also going to be in this A tier. They're sitting at 4th in the East, right there in front of Philadelphia. But they've been looking, they're on a 2-game losing streak currently. But we know they are struggling with a ton of injuries. OG Anunoby is missing time now. Julius Randle is going to be missing extended period of time. Mitchell Robinson is supposed to be coming back. We don't have a exact date of his return at this time. So Knicks are just battling a lot of injuries now, but these guys are all guys that are going to be coming back within the next few weeks. I do believe the Knicks at full strength, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, I believe this team is going to be able to make some noise. But I still don't see them as being able to really beat any of the main three teams in the Eastern Conference that are going to be listed in front of them here. Next, we're going to have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is going to be at the top of this can make a run tier. Minnesota has, they're now number one in the Western Conference with the losses from Oklahoma and even the Denver Nuggets. Now Minnesota holds sole ownership of first place in the Western Conference. But again, I believe what's going to stop them is Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. I just have to see them have the same success they're having in the regular season, in that postseason as well. When I see that, I then believe that we can possibly move them up at that time. Next. All right. The Milwaukee Bucks. I'm actually going to put them behind Minnesota here. We all know they won the championship 2 years ago. Giannis is always going to be in that MVP conversation. But this team, since they've gotten Doc Rivers, they haven't did anything special. I believe they've only won 2 games since obtaining Doc Rivers. They're 4-6 outside of the last 10 games and has dropped to 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Until Doc gets his footing with this team, which he may never, I still don't agree with the firing of Adrian Griffin to bring in Doc Rivers. But as of right now, they're not playing like they can win a championship or a championship contender. They've been struggling on defense, losing to teams they should not be losing to. Doc Rivers has blown 3 double-digit leads since he's been on the roster at this time. So at this time, I have to move them out of the S tier. They're no longer in the contenders category. Now, we have 4 teams that are going to be making in this S category. I'm going to rank them with the top team. Boston is back at number 1. Best record in the NBA, sitting at 40-12. They've been phenomenal all season. They went through a little rut there a few weeks ago where they were losing to a few teams, including the Lakers, where they never should have lost to them as well. But they are clearly head and shoulders the best team in the league right now. And I'm actually going to put this other Eastern Conference team right behind them. Cleveland is 35-16 on a 9-game winning streak, and they've only lost 1 out of their last 17 games. Cleveland is the hottest team in the NBA, and they're only getting healthier from here. Cleveland is a team to be reckoned with. Donovan Mitchell should be in the MVP conversation, and they have to be up here. Only 1 loss in 17 games are showing consistency. They probably should have been in this category before, but they are the newest addition to this S tier, as well as the Los Angeles Clippers. I have to put the Clippers in this category. Clippers are sitting with 35-16. They're a half a game behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, but Clippers have been looking great. Healthy Kawhi Leonard, healthy Paul George, healthy James Harden, healthy Russell Westbrook. They're all bought in. This is a team that I think will be very dangerous in the playoffs. I don't see many teams being able to compete with them for a full 7 games. And then last but not least, I am going to put Denver here. Denver is just half a game back from the Clippers. And I do believe, like I've said, Jokic is arguably the best player in the NBA. And as long as he's healthy, Jamal Murray is healthy, this team is going to be a contender and one of the favorites to always come out of the Western Conference. But we had a lot of changes, you guys. Clippers, Cavaliers both joining the S tier. Milwaukee moving down into the A tier. And this is crazy. You can just see how much can change from 1 week to the next. And like I said, that trade deadline kind of showed us what a lot of teams were planning on doing for the rest of the season. So guys, if you guys disagree with anything on this list, please comment down below. But this is it, and I think it's a pretty accurate list. And I'll see you guys next week. Be safe.